It's great to welcome you all today to the Youth Pledge for Employers virtual careers fair. It's the first one that we're doing. Youth Pledge for Employers is a project that is engaging with organisations across Norfolk and Suffolk to provide work inspiration, experience or employment for young people. And we are absolutely delighted today to have Matthew Applegate here from the Creative Computing Club. So Matthew, I will hand over to you.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm just going to load this up. My name is Matthew Applegate. I'm founder of the Creative Computing Club here in Ipswich. Hopefully you can all see this all right. Uh, I've been very fortunate in my career in technology. Despite having a very rough ride in school, I had fun at school, let's just say. And I also had a few run-ins with the law when I was very young. I got my first computer when I was 10 in Zweibrücken, West Germany, and I broke into my first military bank when I was 12. There's a video of that on the BBC News if you're interested in that. The password was R. Reagan, so it wasn't super secure. He was the president at the time. But instead of being punished, luckily, my dad was quite high rank. They gave me more access to computers after school, and I developed a very big passion for working in tech and building things, and sometimes doing things that I shouldn't be doing, but often for the good of other people. So I've been very fortunate to work with the Foreign Office, Google, BBC, Nintendo, NASA, UK Parliament, Honda, Samsung, Sony, Singularity University, Cabinet Office, Apple, Microsoft, B&A, the British Museum, and I currently still advise for Disney and Marvel. So I'm very lucky to be doing that work alongside the main project in my life right now, which is called the Creative Computing Club. Now, I realized while I was working for the UK government, I was very fortunate to be, have this, very good career, this very interesting career. We did all kinds of different covert ops for different government departments. We solved a lot of technical problems. We stopped a lot of cyber attacks. We provided the military with a lot of information and the police with lots of information. So it was really interesting, really good fun. But I realized I was very fortunate to come from leaving school with virtually no qualifications whatsoever to going into working with all these companies. And that was purely driven by my passion and enthusiasm for learning about technology. And what actually happened is right after I left school, the internet entered the home. And I know for a lot of you that might seem a bit weird that being at home without the internet, but I'd left school, didn't have many qualifications, and the internet arrived, and I just used that as a tool to learn about everything that I wanted to learn about and regain some of the skills I had in computing. And then immediately I was snapped up by companies because I was able to break most people's security. I was able to break into almost any phone, any console, anything. But I was never interested in doing it for illegal means. I was always interested in doing it to allow other people to create software for those machines. So I created a thing called the Creative Computing Club. And I think this image is one of my favorite images from one of the sessions. And I think it sums up perfectly what we do at Creative Computing Club. And that is we train up young people for a career in technology. And we start at the age of 8 and we go all the way up to 25. So we put them on a path where, we have to learn about the student first. We have to learn about the young person first. Like if they want to go into robotics, AI, VR, blockchain, cybersecurity, video game design, whatever, we will find a path for you to follow, to go down and become that. I've got enough connections in the tech and video game and film industry to almost connect almost all of my students. So when they are ready to be shipped out to work for these companies, we can pair them up with a company to do some work experience, to do a summer job, to be an intern, so that way they can land on their feet. And we don't dumb down any of the things that we teach our students. We teach them all at an industry standard. Our 8-year-olds are almost at A-level standard in terms of their programming now because we've just been doing it for so long. We work with very talented young people, but we'll work with anybody to get their skills up. I think our 12-year-olds are easily at degree level. and our 16, 17-year-olds are probably at master's degree level in terms of their programming ability and their ability to kind of look at cyber attacks and stuff like that. We've done a number of projects with government agencies which I can't name, but we do send our students away to go and work with them for a few days, and they come back absolutely terrified about using their mobile phone. But it's really interesting, and it gives them a real insight into what it's like actually working for government under those kind of conditions. I actually started the Creative Computing Club in 2012 with just 10 kids in a local library. I said to the parents, I'm going to run an 8-week pilot. Here we are 10 years later, still running that 8-week pilot, training up young people. I would say out of the first 10, I know that 7 of them are currently working in technology. I know 2 of them out of that 7 own their own video game company, and a lot of them work for other local tech companies, locally. So it's quite nice to see them progress. It's quite nice to see them pop up on LinkedIn and see their careers progress. And occasionally they do come back if they need a bit of advice or a bit more networking. I can usually introduce them to pretty much anybody in tech. Really, I've been very lucky. I think the key kind of theme throughout my career is that even though I worked in tech and it's quite a competitive industry, I was always there helping people. I was always, whenever I worked at these big companies, I was always helping other people progress. And I think that's been a constant theme throughout my work, is that I like to help people get where they want to go. That kind of that helping people has paid back loads, because we helped out Microsoft. We gave them a number of students to become interns, and they made us VIPs to all of their stores. So if we ever want to go down to one of their stores in like London, we can book out the gaming arena for free. We got to test drive a £4 million McLaren car, which is quite nice. Our students love that. And we get to do all kinds of dangerous stuff. We actually teach kids how to solder. We teach kids how to do penetration testing. That means hacking into things in the building. We train them up because they need to know this stuff. But they know that when they leave our building, they can't go home and do this stuff. They have to be responsible. And that's part of the deal. They get to do all this cool, dangerous stuff here in the building and get trained up for a specific career, but they don't do it when they go home. And they assure me they don't. So I'm happy with that. Yeah. So we also work with loads of schools. We work with 15 schools locally, and we take care of them. We don't just go in and deliver lessons. We'll patch up their IT systems. We will get them ridiculously good deals on tech. We kitted out about 20 schools during the pandemic for free. We just said, look, if you need stuff, you can just harass us and we'll get it sorted, because we love doing it. We love showing up and fixing up old computer systems and getting them rocking, because the students enjoy having a good computer in front of them when they're in class. I do train up a lot of staff at British Telecom. I train kids from 8 years old to 80. Generally, we kind of stop at 25, but sometimes adults want to learn. Like these staff from BT, they want to learn about how AI actually works. So that's my specialist kind of area, is artificial intelligence. So I can train up them on what things can happen now and what things can't do. We're very lucky as an organization. We are one of the only organizations in the UK to have access to Elon Musk's Codex, which is an AI that we can talk to and tell it to code stuff for us. It's like Jarvis in the Avengers or Iron Man film. It's very cool. I can't show you pictures of it because I'm under a legal document to say I can't show you what it's like. But if you come into the building, I can show it to you. And you can have a go and talk to it. It's frightening because it's going to replace a lot of programmers in the near future, but it's also amazing because that means a lot of countries who are falling behind in programming will be able to leapfrog a lot of bad code, because this AI is trained so sophisticatedly to kind of do so much stuff. In 2019, we got our own building, and I think that changed everything. Completely. We actually got the kids in to paint the building. I got all the computers together and I said, here you go, you build the network. And they built the network themselves. We designed it all around Nintendo colors. So we have all the kind of seats that are in Nintendo button colors. All the couches and the pillars in the building all has Nintendo colors, because we all like Nintendo. here. We like, we like everything else as well. We like Microsoft as well, obviously. But we wanted them to take ownership of the building. And when you see students in our building, they kind of own the building, basically. There's two places they can't go. One in my office because it's a gym and a mess, and two underneath the stairs because that's where the server is. And nobody knows how to do the server apart from Ben, so we leave that alone. We did a really cool project in 2019 with IBM, and this is what I mean by my rule breaking. So we use this thing called IBM Watson, which is a very simple AI in comparison to Elon Musk's one, but it's still pretty good. It can take text to speech, and it can talk to you over a phone system. So we got our 12 to 16-year-olds and some younger students to build a cinema ticket booking system using this AI, and it worked. And if you can see here, it said, "What film would you like to see?" And it says, "Oh, the worst film ever." And then they suggest, "Oh, go watch the Emoji Movie." So it's yeah. So we got it this brand new off the shelf AI to build this ticketing system that you could talk to, and we posted it online. And IBM were like, "You're not meant to be doing that. That's for, you have to be 18-year-old minimum to be using this software. You've broken our rules of whatever terms and conditions and all that." And 2 weeks later, I get an email saying, "Oh, could we use those photos for an internal presentation to show just how easy it is to use IBM Watson?" And in the end, we brokered a deal where we have complete access to IBM Watson, IBM Q, and a few other systems. So that way our students can progress along those lines. So that's the kind of rule breaking I get involved in now, unless I'm obviously state sanctioned to do stuff. But it's the case of we bend the rules so that way our students can learn what's actually going on in the world. We want to put the world in context for them so they can have that advantage when they go out to work. Another thing we did, we kind of teamed up with Microsoft and the developers of Minecraft at Microsoft in Reading. Our students went there and took over the building, and we got to run the Microsoft building for a day from the CEO's office. And our kids ran rings around their security offices. It was hilarious. Our kids dodged every security protocol and we put them to the test. But it meant that we built up a good rapport with Microsoft and Mojang, and we were able to become beta testers of Minecraft Dungeons a year before it came out. So we had it here in the building a year before it came out, and all of our kids had to keep quiet about this new game that was coming out and couldn't talk about it. But they loved it because they got to come in every week and try it out and try out new things and then give feedback to the developers. So that gave them some real Q&A testing experience. There isn't so much games testing anymore in the world. There's Q&A and there's kind of beta testing. But that was a really good project. I've done a lot of work for Google in schools. Yeah.
Matthew, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to jump in because it's so interesting, all the stuff that you have done.
Yeah.
I'm conscious as well, we've got some sort of Norfolk schools probably on the call
Yeah.
who are thinking, can he come and see us?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Miss Williams, if you're out there listening, yes, I would happily come to your school, come in and have a chat, or anyone in, if you want me to come in, just my email's at the bottom there. Just send me an email. But yeah, happy to come into schools and talk about it. I'm happy for them to come into the lab and visit and see the stuff we have here, because we've got a lot of equipment that we're not legally allowed to take out of the building. So they can come here and do some hacking, do some interesting stuff here as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so fascinating because it seems to me just such a fast moving world as a technological dinosaur. What do you think are sort of I don't know if it is this simple to ask, but what do you think are sort of the top 3 hard skills and the top 3 soft skills that you need? Like perhaps, and I guess those hard skills may change all the time.
No, it's maths, physics, and computer science. That's it.
Really?
Yeah, if you want to earn a lot of money and just maths, physics, and science. Don't do that at the detriment of creative industries like art and English. But if you want to be a coder, maths, physics, and computer science. My son, who's doing robotics, he's building giant robots that dredge the bottom of the sea, basically these giant mechs. And he's just doing physics and maths for the first year at university. He has to. Because they're not going to let you near a massive machine unless you know exactly what numbers to put in it. So it's a case of you have to get those core skills in place. The what the other side of what we do here is we get young people to network, we get them to communicate to each other, sometimes even argue, but we are getting them to build up that resilience in how to deal with other people and how to work with people you don't like, because I've had to work for Boris Johnson and I did fine at that. So it's a case of sometimes you have to work with people you don't really like, but you have a job to do, and you're doing that to for the benefit of a lot of people, so that's fine. But we do a lot. We work really hard in the week. Okay, so Monday
Yeah.
to Friday we are working. We're just focused on working and to get their career. But on the weekends they can come in and use the lab for their pet projects. They can use the network for gaming. They can do all kinds of stuff. Because they know they've earned it. And a lot of the companies that we work with reward us by sending us free games, free equipment. So we've got like £4,000 desktop PCs, with water cooled, everything. So we play on like Fortnite and Apex Legends and all that on the weekend and have a massive network for them to do it on. Because if you work that hard, you deserve to be rewarded. And these kids
Yeah.
are going, I call them kids, but they're all Asians. But they are going into that that area, and we want them to kind of understand it. Their skill is valued, and we train them to be able to not undersell themselves, to have the confidence to go into a job and say, okay, this is what you're offering, but this is what I want. Yeah, I have something what you want. I have the skill. Do not undersell yourself, because there are a lot of opportunities for employers to do that, and we train. Essentially, we're training the wolves. We are training
Yeah.
the ones to go out into the world and do the things that need to be done. And it's lovely. I absolutely love my job. I don't think it was a job. I just think it was my life's work now. I just show up here, occasionally blow stuff up and document it. And
What an
that
amazing privilege. What a
yeah.
fantastic job.
So it's we did a few other things during the pandemic I'll quickly mention, because we had
Yeah, sure.
a powerful network. We have like an insanely Ubisoft donated their old gaming development machines. So these are
Wow.
massively powered machines, because we send them students, don't we?
Yeah.
We send them stuff. They send us free stuff. We're all happy. And so every Christmas we got like 300 games to give away downstairs. But so we had this massive computing network, and what we did was we were able to help model the original COVID, proteins. We were able to model them and share that data with universities and researchers. So we get all the data shipped in, process it, and then ship it out again. And our computers are running overtime. Because there was nobody in the building, so the machines could just be switched on and doing all this number crunching. So that was a really good project to do, and our students got to tap into it and see what was going on. Got to talk to some of the scientists as well, again, which was really really cool. We also did another project where I went around and basically I harassed all the local tech companies. I said, look, we know that you sent all your staff home. We know you're giving them all laptops. Give us all your old desktops. We're going to rip out the hard drives, refurbish them, and get them out to kids in Suffolk. Yeah, we're gonna make sure that all the kids who want to be connected to the internet are connected to the internet. And originally we thought, yeah, let's set a target of about 100 computers. And I think about a week ago we just did over 1,100 computers in Suffolk, and that went out to schools, that went out to organizations, individuals, and we just basically the kids come in on a Saturday, grab a pile of computers, repair them, and we ship them out again.
Wow.
And so our kids are actually building computers for other kids who are less fortunate than them, which is a really, really lovely thing to do. And they love it. And, they get to kind of learn how to build computers safely, how to test them. And we can see that a few of them will go into computer repair and hardware stuff. We also did a thing called Creative Computing Club with Google, which was essentially we were teaching young people about emotional manipulation online, looking at different things like polarization, looking at how to behave in a moral capacity online, how to show yourself online in a sensible and suitable way, so that way you can kind of model your career going forward. So you can kind
Yeah.
of put the best representation of you forward. We were very lucky. We've won tons of awards, ridiculous amounts of awards. It's
Wow.
nice. I'm very lucky. I won a BAFTA award a few years ago for teaching young game designers. Like I said, a lot of our students go into the games industry and end up making the games industry millions and millions of pounds. We're just glad that we're part of their story. I thought it was a joke when I got nominated, and I went to the BAFTAs. I went to the BAFTAs in a hoodie and jeans, and I thought they're just winding me up. I'm just going to be here as tech support or something like that. And then he called me on stage, and I got my BAFTA from the ex CEO of Atari, wearing a hoodie and jeans. But it was good. It was good fun. Very, very fortunate to kind of have that opportunity to kind of to kind of explain what we do. These are just two profiles of students that have gone off. Basically both into the games industry. Ethan now works at a company called Sumo Digital, who do like the Sackboy games, like Little Big Planet and stuff like that, and Sonic Team Racing and all those. So he works there, and he's the second student we've got there, which is lovely. So he knows the other student that's there. So they've traveled all the way to the other side of the country to get away from Computer Club, and they bump into other people from Computer Club, which is fantastic. But on the side of what we do at Computer Club, we also have a charity which buys really high-end computers for students who are struggling to get the money together to buy a computer for their computer science studies. So we get them we get them Asus ROGs, which are high-end gaming computers, so they can build high-end video games or do physics simulations and so on. So we get them very, very good computers. This is what I mentioned when we went into schools and we kitted them out with laptops and desktops. We went out to about 20 schools and just built brand new classrooms for them. We said, look, we know you guys are struggling for money. We know that it's very, very difficult to get tech. Guess what? We've got both of it. So we're going to come in, clear out the room. We'll bring some of our students in and we'll fix it up and get it out to schools across Suffolk. That was really good. We got a lovely letter of recognition from the Houses of Parliament for doing that. So that was really, really good fun to do. But what I'm doing now is I'm taking all of those connections with all the companies that I have and getting my students to get jobs and internships in those companies. One of the main reasons why we started Computer Club was that we needed to get a lot of local homegrown talent in Ipswich, because companies were paying an extortionate amount of money for developers. And we've grown. We've now got students in almost every tech company locally. I can go around any any floor on any development room, and I know about 40% of the people who work there because I trained them myself.
That must feel fantastic as you go around. Oh, I think that's really
it makes me feel very old.
But I think that's really useful advice that you've given. We're going to have to wrap up soon, but for young
Yeah.
people, so we're saying, don't, you need those hard skills like maths, physics,
Yeah.
computer science. Also, don't deny those sort of creative opportunities as well through other subjects.
Yeah.
Think about your team working, ability to work with other people, as well as sort of that, and always like that confidence piece in terms of like what you do. Maybe not all the teachers will want them to be quite as confident as you in terms of hacking things that they shouldn't be hacking. I'm just putting that out there, Matthew. But it's absolutely, your journey is just fascinating into that. And what would you say if you had to predict like next 5 years when maybe some of these people may be coming to end of degrees or further learning, what do you think are going to be like the top areas in your industry that people that of skills or need that will be in demand?
I think within the next 12 months, AI is going to show what it's really capable of. Because like I mentioned, we're using what's called a closed beta of Elon Musk's Codex and his OpenAI system. And every company is going to have to reassess how they work once that's released to the general public. Because it's like, I can go on there, and teachers will hate this. I can go on there and say,
sorry, teachers in advance.
Yeah, I could go on there and say, give me 10 ideas for beginner coding lessons. And it will give me 10 ideas for beginner coding lessons.
Wow.
And then I'll say, take the first 5 ideas and develop them into lesson plans. And it will scour the internet, look at what a lesson plan is, what it could be made of. And it will try its hardest to create what it deems a lesson plan. And we've used a few of them and they've been okay. But it's because it's in its infancy right now. But when it's released to the general public, people are going to be able to go on there and ask the right questions of it and basically leapfrog ahead. So, if you want to go into coding, you need maths, physics, and computer science. If you want to go into game design, you'll probably need a bit of computer science, art, and music. Yeah, you want the more creative subjects. We actually want more creative people in the games industry because they come up with the wackier ideas. They come up with the better ideas. But we had a student who said, I can't ever work in code because I can't, I'm not a good programmer. And, he was able to talk to everybody. He was able to go into the local co-op when we were in Reading at Microsoft and say, hey, we're on like a school trip. Can you give us free chocolate? And he went in there and convinced the guy, the manager of the shop, to give us free chocolate. I was like, you're going to work in marketing, mate. That's how it works. Don't ever sell yourself short. If you want to achieve something, do not, don't listen to other people who haven't actually done that job tell you that you can't do it. You can do it. It's just a matter of you have to work out how you get there. And it might be a very, very curved road. Career means to swerve, recklessly. Yeah. So think about that. It's not a linear path to get where I was. If you would have told me, like 15, 20 years ago when I was working for government doing these, operations, shall we say, that I was going to turn into a teacher and I was going to, enjoy it more than anything I've ever done, I would have said you're crazy. I was very focused on me, getting my career sorted out, all of that. Yeah, I was helping a lot of people, but I never thought I'd become a teacher. But one of my friends, Jane Laverack, invited me into her school, and kind of I got to work with them and see how just lovely it is to see that light bulb moment in so many
Yeah.
students, to see that, oh,
Oh,
that's how that works. And it's
Oh,
just,
Matthew, that is
yeah,
brilliant. What a fantastic note to end on. And I'm sure that we will probably be in touch trying to work out how we can share the skills and the joy of the Creative Computing Club across the whole of the region. So Suffolk don't get to keep that all to themselves, because that
no,
was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
all right.
Absolutely brilliant to meet you. And we'll move to our next speaker. Thank you so much, Matthew.
Thank you.